She was promised fame and fortune in Europe. Instead, she became the most famous human exhibit of the 19th century. Her name was Sara Baartman, but the world knew her as the Hottentot Venus. For almost 200 years, Europe refused to let her rest, even after death. This is the heartbreaking true story of a woman who was never allowed to be human. Sara Baartman was born around 1789 in what is now the Eastern Cape of South Africa. She belonged to the Khoisan people, a group Dutch and British colonizers insultingly called Hottentots. Tragedy struck early. Her mother died when she was still a baby, and her father was killed while working. As a teenager, she moved to Cape Town and worked as a domestic servant, washerwoman, and wet nurse. She had 2 children, both died in infancy. Life under colonial rule was already hard, but nothing could prepare her for what came next. In 1810, a British ship surgeon named Alexander Dunlop and a free black man named Hendrik Caesars approached Sara with an offer: "Come with us to England. People will pay to see you perform. You'll become rich." Sara signed a contract and left South Africa. Historians still argue whether she went willingly or was tricked. What is certain is that the contract gave her only a tiny share of the profits. Within weeks of arriving in London, Sara was put on stage in Piccadilly. She wore a tight, skin-colored body stocking and was exhibited like an animal in a cage. Crowds paid 2 shillings just to stare at her body, especially her steatopygia, the natural prominent hips and buttocks common among Khoisan women. Spectators were allowed to poke her with sticks and touch her, all in the name of curiosity and science. She was never fully naked in public, but the humiliation was total. Cartoons and songs mocked her across Britain. Britain had just abolished the slave trade in 1807. Abolitionists, led by Zachary Macaulay, took her exhibitor to court, claiming Sara was being held as a slave. In court, through translators, Sara was asked, "Are you here of your own free will?" She answered yes, that she was happy and earning money. The case was dismissed. Many historians now believe she was coached or threatened into giving that answer. In 1814, Sara was sold to a French animal trainer and taken to Paris. There, conditions became even more degrading. Top French scientists, including the famous Georges Cuvier, examined her naked for days, measuring every part of her body and making detailed drawings. They wanted proof that Africans were closer to apes than Europeans. These drawings and reports fueled scientific racism for generations. On December 29, 1815, Sara Baartman died in Paris. She was only 26 years old. The cause is uncertain: smallpox, pneumonia, syphilis, or alcoholism brought on by despair. But her story didn't end there. Georges Cuvier performed the autopsy himself. He removed her brain and genitals, preserved them in jars, made a full-body plaster cast, and put everything on public display at the Musée de l'Homme in Paris. Her skeleton and body parts remained exhibited until the late 1970s. After apartheid ended in 1994, South Africans learned that Sara's remains were still in France. President Nelson Mandela formally asked France to return them. A young Khoisan poet named Diana Ferris wrote a powerful poem titled "I've Come to Take You Home." The poem spread across the country and helped ignite a national campaign. Finally, in 2002, the French government agreed. On August 9, 2002, National Women's Day in South Africa, Sara Baartman was laid to rest on a hill overlooking the Gamtoos River, near where she was born. Sara Baartman was more than a victim. She became a global symbol of colonial exploitation, scientific racism, and the dehumanization of Black women. Today, when you stand at her grave in Hanky, you feel peace and pain. Peace that she is finally home. Pain when you remember how long it took. Her story forces us to ask, how many other names have we forgotten? And how do we make sure this never happens again? If you've never heard Sara Baartman's name before today, let me know in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe so more people learn her story the right way. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.